Hello Internet, and today is going to be day 5 of Top 7 in 7 days. This was started by Bookro, so be sure to go and check out her channel. Today's topic is going to be Top 7 manga, graphic novels, or comic books of 2017 for you. And of course, I love all of those things. Disclaimers before I do actually officially start. These are in no particular order. I just wrote them down, picked them up in this order. Also, these are limited to ones that I've only read in 2017. Nothing from the way past. I've read it recently, therefore this is a 2017 list. Now, number 1 is going to be Avatar: The Last Airbender. This counts even though I've only ever watched the anime, because it does have a graphic novel that I've never bothered picking up before, but may one time in the future. So this is just such a fantastic show. It is amazing. It is so good. So it's about this boy named Aang, and he's the Avatar, which means he can bend 4 elements: air, fire, water, and earth. And he is in this world where being a elemental of some sort, having the control of one element or another, is very common, and avatars are put in place to keep the balance. Well, the balance has been corrupted by the Fire Nation because it all changed when the Fire Nation attacked. So now Aang has to fix it with the help of his friends. They're just so beautiful and magical, and everyone should watch Avatar and then go watch Legend of Korra, which goes along with Avatar. It is the sequel to the Avatar story. Number 2 is going to go to a webtoon comic called Lore of Olympus. This was one I found recently and is about to be featured on webtoons. And it is a Hades and Persephone retelling with actual Hades and Persephones. So it just has such beautiful artwork. It's this artist's unique take on the Hades Persephone myth. We see Hades looking gorgeous, we see Persephone looking cute and gorgeous, and we just see their interactions. And I love it so much, not only because the artwork is so beautiful, but also because I have a deep love for mythology. So seeing this in a graphic novel webtoons format was just so stunning, and the artwork is so beautiful that if you like Greek mythology and you love beautiful artwork, I would say go check it out. Number 3 is also another webtoons comic. I spent a lot of time on webtoons, and that is the Dr and Mrs Abbott. This is currently in a hiatus, but there are tons of chapters for you to go check out. This takes place in a Victorian early colony sort of area, and it talks about a girl named Mrs. Abbott, and she's kind of a wild thing, right? She grew up in a tribe, so she doesn't really understand normal society behavior because that's not how she grew up, and she runs into this doctor who is new in town, and they have a little tiff at the beginning, but it's a slow budding romance between them, and it's just such a fun and cute time seeing their relationship, seeing all the new characters come in, and it just has a diverse cast of character, and each character is just a character that you could come to love. It's just such a great story if you want to have a good time. Number 4 is going to go to Boku no Hero Academia, or My Hero Academia. Or My Hero Academy. Yeah, My Hero Academy is the English version. This is my Funko Pop of the main character, Deku. This is my absolute favorite anime. I think it takes the top for my favorite anime / manga. I just love it so much. It gives me my fill of superheroes. So this takes place in a world where superhero powers are common. Every single person has superhero powers. They're referred to as quirks. They're all different, all unique. And because everybody has a quirk, it's very common to get hired as a superhero. So if you want to be a superhero, you have to go to superhero school. You are hired by the government. Everything like that happens. Being a superhero is a job. They still have police and a whole system, but of course they have superheroes to take on the heavier duty work. So this follows a boy named Deku, and he seems to be the only person in this world that doesn't have a quirk. And he ends up meeting this character named All Might, who decides to pass on his mantle. All Might is like the very first superhero. He's not really the first, but he is thought of as the best and the greatest superhero that ever existed, and All Might decides to pass down his mantle to poor little Deku here. And Deku is actually my favorite character, even though he is a very, very crybaby in like the first good half of the series, especially if you watch the anime. Most of the anime as it's covered so far, he's a big crybaby, but I love him for it. I just love all of the character interactions. I like just superheroes saving the day. They're amazing. I love them. So go check that out if you want to see a great superhero story. So number 5 is going to go to a more risque graphic novel, but it's one that I really did enjoy and surprised me a lot. And that is going to go to Empowered by Adam Warren. And I'm going to say this again for those of you in the back. This is 18 plus, so infer what you will about 18 plus. This is about a girl named Empowered, that's her superhero name, and she has this membrane suit that goes over her body and it makes her super strong and invulnerable to stuff. The only problem is that it kinda is based on how confident she is in herself. So the less confident she is, the more likely it is to tear. The more it tears, the more likely it is that she's going to lose her powers. She's thought of as the lamest superhero in the world because she always gets captured because she doesn't have a lot of confidence. So her suit is always ripping and she's always captured. And she ends up meeting this guy and they end up dating. She ends up meeting a good friend and they end up being best friends. And it's such a nice story, okay, about this girl who doesn't have a lot of confidence, and it's not like all of a sudden she gains it just because she has 2 people there to support her. Actually, 3 people there to support her if you count one character, but they're there to help her along her journey of her being an amazing superhero and her recognizing the amazingness of herself. So if you are okay with some risky things, I'm not going to say anything in here is super perverse. If you're an adult and you can handle adult topics, you'll be fine. But if you can, then don't bother picking this up. But for me, this was definitely a great comic. I definitely loved the character. I loved just seeing her struggle with herself and her self-confidence and her trying to persevere and just people being there and being supportive, not telling her, oh, you just need to be more confident, but recognizing that they couldn't just force confidence on her. They kind of had to show her what an amazing person she was, and it was up to her to decipher that. Book number 6 is going to go to Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. This was so good, okay? This was so good. I really like villains. Villains are some of my favorite characters that have ever existed. I love Tom Riddle. That says a lot about me and my love for villains. Okay, I love everything about villains. One of my favorite things to claim is that I would be a better villain than most villains I read about or see on TV. So I have a slight obsession with villains. So in this book, we actually follow a villain and a girl named Nimona who becomes his apprentice. And they are going to do villainous deeds and they're going to like steal things and, you know, just do a bunch of villainous stuff. But like, of course, they uncover a plot, all sorts of weird things like that. But my favorite part was just Nimona and her dedication to being an amazing villain, to the point that the person in charge of her mentor, had to pull her back certain times and be like, Nimona, we are villains, but we are not evil. Stop it. And I just died laughing. It was just such a great time for me to see this girl like so dedicated to her villainy and someone else having to pull her back. Like, she wasn't mean-spirited or anything, but just that dedication though, that was great. And the last book, book number 7, is gonna come off as a surprise, especially since most of the books that I've picked previously have some sort of dire or mature content around them. Even Avatar, some horrible shit sometimes happens in Avatar. I'm there for it every second of the day. But this one is definitely the most innocent graphic novel that I could pick, where nothing of a truly serious nature happens. And I'm going to go with Sandwich Thief by Andre Marcos, and Patrick Dion. And this was just so great. It was so cute. It's like this kid's graphic novel about this boy who has two foodies for parents. So he gets gourmet sandwiches every day and he loves them so much. But one day his sandwiches start disappearing, and for a whole week he doesn't have lunch because someone keeps stealing his sandwiches. And just seeing this kid, like, he becomes Sherlock Holmes. He's determined to figure out who is stealing his sandwiches, because it doesn't seem like anyone at school is taking it as seriously as he is that his food is going missing. And I just love, like, his righteous anger that someone's stealing his sandwiches. And I think this is just such a fun read. This is just so cute, and like, it can't help but put a smile on your face when you're reading about this kid just trying to decide who was it that stole my sandwich. Like, him trying to figure out, oh, stroke of genius. Stroke of genius. Those were all my choices for comic books, graphic novels / manga that I truly enjoy. I read a ton of it. I'm not even the slightest bit ashamed to say that most of my book reading comes from comic books and mangas and webtoons and all that sort of stuff. Like, I read it all the time, religiously, just as much as I read any other book. So I really had fun coming up with this list. If you have a particular manga that you really love, comment down below and let me know. What is your favorite? Like, I like learning. I like learning about people's favorites. It's sort of one of my favorite things, you know? So if you like what you're seeing here and you want to continue to see more, click all those bunnies down below. And don't forget to go check out Book Roast and her original video on this topic. And goodbye, Internet.